शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो ब्रवीमि संस्कृतं वाचा ध्यायामि संस्कृतं हृदा कुर्वे सेवाञ्च कायेन वन्दे संस्कृतमातरम् यो नरः संस्कृतव्योम्निह्यालयं रमते मुदा संस्कृतिं चैव संस्कारं विन्दते नात्र संशयः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। अद्य अस्माकं व्योमसंस्कृतपाठशालायाः शिवानन्दलहर्याः आनन्दानुभवः इति अन्तर्जालमाध्यमेन प्रचलितकक्ष्यायाः समापनसमारोहः। अस्मिन् शुभावसरे अस्मान् सर्वान् अनुग्रहीतुं श्री डॉक्टर करणम अरविंद राव महोदयाः उपस्थिताः इत्यहो अस्माकं सौभाग्यं दैवानुग्रह हेतुकमेव। संस्कृत भाषा प्रवीणाः वेदान्तशास्त्र विशारदाः भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा निपुणाः वाचस्पति उपाधिभूषिताः अस्माकं मुख्यातिथिवर्याः आन्ध्रप्रदेशे डायरेक्टर जनरल ऑफ पुलिस डीजीपी पदवीम् अलङ्कुर्वन् भारतमातुः विशिष्टसेवाञ्च अकुर्वन् विख्यातवक्तारः प्रसिद्धलेखकाश्च सनातनधर्मं वेदान्तशास्त्रं भगवद्गीतामधिकृत्य अनेकग्रन्थरत्नान् अरचयन्। अहं मुख्यातिथिवर्याणां हार्दिकं स्वागतं व्याहरामि। स्वागतं महोदय। अद्य अस्मिन् कार्यक्रमे उपस्थितानां भवतां सर्वेषां हार्दिकं स्वागतम्। A warm welcome to one and all. We are eagerly waiting to listen to our very esteemed chief guest for today's valedictory session on the topic of Samskritihi Samskritasthita. Why should we study Sanskritam? It is indeed our greatest honor to listen to a discourse on this topic from none other than Dr. Karanam Aravinda Rao Mahodaya, a leader who has seamlessly blended the discipline of an administrator, a former DGP, with the depths of Vedic knowledge. Parallel to his illustrious career, he has pursued a PhD in Samskritam, mastering Advaita Vedanta under the guidance of great Mahamahopadhyayas. A prolific author and recipient of the title Vachaspati, he has dedicated his life to bridging ancient Vedic wisdom with modern knowledge through his prolific writings and global lectures. He has practically demonstrated how the study of Sanskritam is essential to unlocking the treasures of Bharatiya Sanatana Samskriti. Through his relentless efforts, lectures, and writings, he continues to inspire a new generation, especially the youth and young parents, to reconnect with the roots and nuances of Sanatana Dharma. Without any further ado, we invite you, Mahodaya, to enlighten us. Swagatam punaha. Dhanyavadaha.
शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ओम सर्वेभ्यः नमस्काराः। अत्र उपस्थिताः प्रायः व्योम लिंग्विस्टिक्स् पक्षतः अपि आयोजकाः भवन्ति इति मन्ये। एवमेव बृन्दा महाशया अपि अत्र अस्ति। एवं च प्रायः अशीति उपरि जनाः अपि अत्र उपस्थिताः सर्वेभ्यः नमस्कारः वरिष्ठेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः नमस्काराः अन्य छात्रेभ्यः शुभ आशंसनानि च इदानीम् अत्र मम परिचयः बृन्दामहाशयायै महाशयाय दत्तम् आसीत् मम परिचयः दत्तः आसीत् मम परिचयः इत्युक्ते अहं पुलिस् शाखायां कार्यं कृतवान् परन्तु अनन्तरं संस्कृतभाषायामपि रुचिः आसीत् एवं संस्कृतभाषायाः अध्ययनमपि मया कृतमासीत् अनन्तरं च मया चिन्तितं संस्कृते इदानीन्तनकाले कः विषयः मुख्यः अस्ति इति मया चिन्तितमासीत् धर्मशास्त्रस्य अध्ययनं तदपि अत्यन्तं मुख्यमेव एवमेव वेदान्तशास्त्रस्यापि अध्ययनम् अत्यन्तं मुख्यमेव अद्य शीर्षिका अस्ति भाषणस्य शीर्षिका अस्ति संस्कृतिः संस्कृता स्थिता इति संस्कृतिः इत्युक्ते आङ्ग्लभाषायां वयं कल्चर् इति वदामः सूक्ष्मरूपेण यदि अनुवादः करणीयः चेत् संस्कृतिः संस्कृता स्थिता इत्युक्ते संस्कृते एव आस्थिता संस्कृते एव सम्यक् अत्र आस्थिता आस्थिता इत्युक्ते आ इति उपसर्गः खलु आस्थिता समन्तात् स्थिता तत्रैव तस्मिन्नेव स्थिता इति अथवा तस्यामेव संस्कृतम् इति नपुंसकलिङ्गशब्दः खलु तस्मिन्नेव स्थिता संस्कृतिः अस्माकं संस्कृतिः संस्कृतभाषायामेव स्थिता इति अत्र विषयः अर्थात् वै शुड् वि लर्न् संस्कृत इति ट्रान्स्लेशन् न भवति आङ्ग्लभाषायाम् अन्यत् ट्रान्स्लेशन् दत्तमस्ति परन्तु संस्कृतिः संस्कृता स्थिता इत्युक्ते संस्कृतिः कथं रक्षणीया संस्कृतिः कथं रक्षणीया इति चेत् संस्कृतभाषायाः माध्यमेन एव संस्कृतभाषायाः अध्ययनेन एव संस्कृतेः रक्षणमपि भवति इति अत्र उद्देशः एवमस्ति अत्र इदानीं किं भवन्तः सर्वेपि प्रायः शिवानन्दलहरी काव्यमिति वक्तुं शक्नुमः स्तोत्रम् इति अपेक्षया काव्यमित्येव वक्तुं शक्नुमः तत् कस्मात् इत्युक्ते काव्यस्य लक्षणानि सर्वाण्यपि तत्र सन्ति प्रथमं काव्यमेव पठनीयं छात्रैः प्रथमं कार्यमेव पठितं चेत् तत्र भाषायाः सौन्दर्यं ज्ञातं भवति काव्यं पठ्यते अत एव पूर्वस्मिन् काले अपि प्रायः अध्ययनसमये प्रप्रथमं रघुवंशकाव्यं काव्यात् काश्चन श्लोकाः अथवा प्रथमसर्गः वा द्वितीयसर्गः वा एवमेव अन्यानि काव्यानि सन्ति खलु तेभ्यः कांश्चन श्लोकान् स्वीकृत्य तत्र अध्यापनं कुर्वन्तः आसन् एवं प्राचीनः प्रणाली अपि एवमेव अस्ति प्रप्रथमं काव्यम् अध्येतव्यम् अनन्तरं च शास्त्रेषु प्रवेष्टव्यः इति अहं भवद्भ्यः ये जनाः शिवानन्दलहर्याः अध्ययनं कृतवन्तः तेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः अहं हार्दिक शुभ आशंसनानि वदामि एवमेव अनन्तरम् इदानीं भवन्तः सर्वेपि शास्त्रेषु अपि प्रविशेयुः इति मम आशयः वर्तते इदानीमहं किञ्चित् आङ्ग्लभाषायां वदिष्यामि So congratulations to all the students who have studied Shivananda Lahari. I was just saying that any student of any language has to learn has to see the literature first, particularly the poetry, because poetry contains the beauty of that language. So you have seen the beauty of Sanskrit through that Shivananda Lahari, the type of language that is used, the type of imagery, the type of metaphors, the type of similes and metaphors, and then all the beauty of that language. And through that again, you have got the Shiva Tattvam, Shivananda Lahari, that Shiva Tattvam also is told. And you have simultaneously studied the beauty of the language, you have studied the nuances of literature, and you have also studied or you have come to know the Shiva Tattvam, which is the highest philosophy. So all the three things they are all embedded in that. So for that, congratulations to all of you. Then now I come to the subject today, why we have to study Sanskrit. Samskritihi Samskrta Sthita, the meaning of that is, If we want to protect the culture is embedded in Sanskrit. That is the literal translation of Samskrita. So, which means that if we have to protect our Samskriti, then we have to learn Sanskrit. That is the simplest way of saying it. Then when the question comes to the modern mind, what is so great about our Samskriti? That is our basic question. Because when I was speaking to this lady Vrindaji also, I was just asking them how many youth are there. So she was saying that mostly there are youngsters and mostly there are elderly people and not many youth. So that is the tragedy of our Hindu civilization, because the problem is youth are not to be seen in any such gatherings. Maybe in this meeting there may be some youth. I don't know. Then my target group is basically youth only, because children, they may not be able to comprehend all the problems. Elderly people, they already know, and probably they are helpless to guide their own children, because their children have gone beyond that level of guidance. So what is needed is children, or boys or girls who are in the age group of say about 12, 15, something like that, and above, up to about 40 years or 45, 50 also. Then above 50, I mean, okay, fine, they will have some pleasure of listening to something and then they will go back, but then they are not in a position to guide their own children. So that is the picture. So my target group always is the youth and the parents of young children, because they have to guide their children. Because what is at stake is Samskriti can be protected not by old people. The youth have to be involved. If the youth are not involved, the Samskriti will go away. If the youth are not involved, and if the youth feels like many other people, oh, there is nothing in our culture, because there are a lot many people who are saying Sanatana Dharma is something like a plague, malaria, it has to be eradicated. You might have heard about that statement from some great political leader from Tamil Nadu. And similarly, very often, all our left liberal people, they keep on saying, no, the Sanatana Dharma is so, I mean, outdated. It is something which is, there is a lot of social injustice in this. Lot many points they will say. So we have to know, as people who are born in this Sanatana Dharma, we have to know whether it is really worth discarding. If it is worth discarding, yeah, we'll jolly well discard it. If it is not worth discarding, and if all the criticism which is leveled against us is something due to some other agenda, we have to understand that agenda. The agenda of the people who want to dislodge or rather uproot this religion or rather uproot this civilization, because India is a civilizational state. We have to know that most other people, they are not civilizations actually. India is actually a civilizational state, a continuous civilization for the last 5,000 years or 6,000 years or more. So that is our say uniqueness. It is the only living tradition in the whole world. All other traditions have gone, all other great civilizations have gone, but this is the only great civilization which is still surviving. So, what are the unique features, and what are the problems, and what is the criticism that is leveled against this civilization? I think this we have to see in order to assess whether this civilization is worth preserving or not. So that is the basic problem, because we have been facing this problem for the last 1000 years, because attack on our civilization has been going on for the last 1000 years. But for in the beginning or for a long time, it was a physical attack in the form of some armies coming and then destroying and then converting our people and then doing all that. And when the Europeans came, then the style of attack changed. It became a sort of intellectual attack, because they know that the pen is mightier than the sword. So they have started using the pen in order to destroy our civilization, in order to study our civilization more meticulously than our own people, because our own people study with a sense of reverence, with a sense of respect, whatnot. But then when the other people study, they want to find the loopholes, where exactly we can point, where exactly we can say, oh, this is something which is drastic, which is something which is atrocious, and projecting it projecting it, and then projecting it in such a way that the society can be divided. So such a thing has happened in India. Unfortunately, that is what has happened. And many educated people who are first, what did the Europeans do, or particularly the British? What did they do? They totally neutralized all this Sanskrit learning. Sanskrit learning, in spite of what all neutralization they tried to do, it was preserved by some dedicated people, some dedicated families, some dedicated gurukulas and all that. Some Sanskrit was preserved and dedicated petams. So that is how Sanskrit was preserved. And many other educated people, they got, estranged from this from this culture. And in fact, they adopted, or rather, they accepted what all criticism the other people were doing. They accepted as the gospel truth. So I think we have to see what exactly are the allegations and then why. In fact, my approach now is, said, you see, when there is an attack on us, what is the field of attack? That is what we have to see. So right now, what I propose to do is maybe for about 40 minutes or so, I will speak, and then the next 20 minutes I will take questions if there are. So, what is the field of attack? For example, somebody is say now you might have heard about Rajiv Malhotra. In fact, when I read Sanskrit and then I did a PhD, that is a different thing. Until I read this Rajiv Malhotra's books, I did not realize the gravity of the attack on our civilization. So that was a sort of eye opener for me. If you have not studied Rajiv Malhotra so far, I strongly recommend that you have to read his books, particularly some The Battle for Sanskrit, Breaking India, Snakes in the Ganga. So such books we have to necessarily read in order to understand the gravity of the attack, the so many angles from which attack is being done, and how our own people are getting alienated from our own civilization. So that we have to see. So now, where is the criticism coming? There is no criticism that, oh, you people do not have grammar. There is no such criticism because we have our established grammar is something which is irrefutable. There is no attack saying that you don't have Tarka Shastra, Nyaya Shastra as we call it. There is no, criticism on that front because we have got such impeccable and irrefutable Shastra. There is no criticism that you don't have yoga, you don't have whatever, because yoga, we are the pioneers in that, and then we are pioneers in what all the principles of all modern psychology, they are actually inspired from, or rather, most of the ideas are actually taken from, if we study Yoga Sutras, along with the commentaries and all that. And if we study the modern psychology, most of the ideas are taken from these things only and elaborated. Experiments and all that they have been taking place. Then there is no question about other shastras. Nobody is saying you don't have this shastra, you don't have that, etc. Nobody is saying. And Mimamsa Shastra is another great Shastra, which is about, it is said to be the Vakya Shastra, how a sentence has to be interpreted in a text. So, such things nobody is refuting. And what they are refuting is on things which are coming to the society. How a society can be united, how a society can be broken. So, society is united by culture. We can also use another word called dharma, sanatana dharma, because repeatedly they say that dharma is something. Dharma, what is dharma? Dharma is something which unites people. Dharanat dharma uchyate. Dharana, that which unites the society. That means dharma is such a thing that it is something which has got various features which will satisfy the needs of all the people. It is only when the needs of all people are satisfied, only then people will be united. And if the needs of all people are not satisfied, this people will not be there. So dharma has to be broken or interpreted in such a way that many people have to feel dissatisfied. This is the first thing our critics did. The people, enemies of this civilization. And what is their agenda? Their agenda is twofold. One is to establish their empire, other is to establish their religion. So their agenda is very, very clear. With that agenda in mind, they have been studying our books till even now it is going on, and it is very sad. Somebody funds somebody in Harvard University, and then one lady writes two books on Aurangzeb, praising Aurangzeb. We all know in history what sort of atrocious character he was. But then there is There are two great books written by a Harvard professor praising him. So, like that, every day there are efforts being done by our people sitting in America and sitting in other universities and Western universities, and then doing so much of research on our books. So, this is the feature. So, we have to know that our dharma, what are the basic points on which the criticism is coming, and is it true? That is also we have to see. So, I have identified a couple of things. This may be rather heavy because for people who are children who may be 8 years or 10 years, but at least there may be some many elders may also be there. Some youth also may also be there. Kindly, just I mean I mean have some patience to listen to this. So, for example, one criticism is our culture is the greatest culture. They say our critics from their point of view. I'm saying our culture and our civilization is the greatest civilization. Our civilization has to be imposed on you. In fact, in our civilization, we have got say things like monotheism. You are all polytheists. You are worshipping all false gods. This is one thing. This is one thing on which many of our people they get disillusioned. Our own youth they get disillusioned. To give an example, you have studied Shivananda Lahari now. Tomorrow you will study some other text relating to Vishnu, relating to Shiva, sorry, Shakti, relating to Ganesha or something, Ganesha Upanishad, whatever. Whatever attributes are given or told about Shiva, that he is the Lord of the whole universe, he is responsible for Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, etc. They are all told for Vishnu, they are all told for Shiva, they are all told for, Shakti and like that. Then who is the real person? So when you say that something in the hero, Shiva is infinite, there cannot be four, five infinities. There can be only one infinity. So what is the truth? So unless we know the fundamentals, unless we go to the fundamentals, we will not know what is the problem, what is the real fact. So when the one allegation, basic allegation is, oh, you are worshipping so many people, so you are worshipping all false gods. This is one allegation. And even Vivek Ramaswamy, some of you might be from US or you might be knowing Vivek Ramaswamy. People are openly attacking. You are worshipping false gods. We can see videos on YouTube. Then the second thing is Sanatana Dharma is equal to caste. Sanatana Dharma is nothing but caste. It is such a suppression of people. Sanatana Dharma is very oppressive. In fact, there is a person called Sheldon Pollock who writes that Sanskrit is the language of oppression. Trying to see what is the truth in this. Sanskrit is the language of oppression. how, how is it? So, if that is so, Greek is the language of oppression. I say oppression. Latin also should be a language of oppression. English, of all the languages, that is the greatest language of oppression. So, all these things, in fact, we are all now speaking in English. I mean, there is no other way to communicate with all the people. So, that is the greatest language of oppression, and through that only they have oppressed and then they have alienated most of the people from various civilizations. So such things. And for example, you have not taught Sanskrit to all the people. Oh, the Sanskrit was the monopoly of one small group, and then they did not teach to all the people. So such allegations, I have just taken only a few, two, three things only because we don't have much time. If I exceed my time, kindly Brindaji, you can raise your hand so that I will stop and then we'll take questions. Then, say for example, the first question: you are all worshipping false gods. What does it mean? Are we really worshipping false gods? If we really want to know who is our right God and who is not the right God, we have to investigate. We have to investigate what is the nature of God. And if we see the world civilizations, Indian civilization is the only civilization in which there is an investigation or inquiry into the nature of God. In other civilizations, it is mainly faith. For example, the Abrahamic religions, if you see, it is mainly faith. I am talking using the word religion because there is no other alternative, because the attack is religio, political, religio, social. So I have to use that word without offending anybody. So anyway, I am not here to offend anybody, but I have to defend myself. So then, for example, religion. What is the difference between religion and philosophy? Religion is mainly a belief system. Somebody comes and says, yes, I have got communication from God. And then he tries to convince some people. And then he tries to expand that circle. And to his luck, if he also can mobilize some army and or king's support, then there is no stopping. Then he will go out and then keep on. He will keep on expanding his religion, expanding, kicking people, killing people, and then expanding his empire. That is how great religions are now established in the country, in the world. So religion is something in which one person at one point of time in history comes and says, yes, I have got communication from God. You have to listen to that. Whereas philosophy is not like that. Philosophy is not the product of one person. It is the collective wisdom of hundreds of people. And where is our philosophy? Our philosophy is in the Vedas and the Upanishads. The Vedas, they have maligned saying that the Vedas are some primitive songs by pastoral people. So if you really see, they are not primitive songs. There is so much of philosophy in that. Even in the Vedic earlier portions of the Vedas, not only in the Upanishads. The later portions of the Vedas, that is the Upanishads, they are the clear essence of philosophy. And in the Upanishads, what do? Several people have come together. They have debated. It is not as though they came assembled in a place. Probably they also assembled in places because in olden days the kings used to conduct such meetings. For example, in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, if we see in Janaka's Sabha, in that meeting, lot many professors used to come. Sorry, lot many sages they used to come. They used to come debate and all that. So such debates we find in that Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. What is the nature of, oh, how many gods you have? There is a section called Shakalya Brahmanam in that Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. In that Shakalya Brahmanam, the question is how many gods we have? How many gods? Now there is a misunderstanding that Hindus have got 3 crores gods or something like that. So 3 crores or 33 crore. It is not like that. That Shakalya Brahmanam, there is a debate between a person called Yajnavalkya and another person called Shakalya. So I will not go into the discussion. There, finally, all we see, various god forms or various things which we are talking about, Indra, the moon, so many deities and whatnot, they are all manifestations of one reality. Kindly read a chapter called Shakalya Brahmanam in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. There is only one reality. And Taittiriya Upanishad defines a son goes to a father and then requests him, oh, my dear, oh, sir, because that father is also a Brahmagyani, he was a realized person. So the son asks him, oh, tell me what is that supreme reality called Brahman? Then the father says, no, it is not like as though I tell and you have to believe in that. You have to discover, you have to inquire it in your own mind, and then you have to discover it. You have to feel it. So that is what he says. So with that, are you the body? Are you the physical body? Are you the mind body? Are you the, say, pranic body? So like that, all the various sheets of, personality, all these things are examined. And finally, what does the that Upanishad say? The Upanishad says, what we call that supreme reality is of the nature of pure consciousness. It says infinitely existing consciousness, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. It says Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman. The Upanishad says that is that consciousness which is there, reflecting in the minds of all in the intellects of all the people, of all the beings, not only human beings, but all the beings. All the beings, all whatever, in fact, in other religions, only human beings have souls. And even the human beings also, some people said, no, 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 all these tribals, etc., they don't have souls, they deserve to be killed. When some of these Europeans went to Canada and places like that, their argument was that all these people, they don't have souls, they are like vegetables, they deserve to be killed. You can find it in, our history. But anyway, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma says, what all exists, the supreme reality is not somebody who is sitting there in heaven, who is not a place called heaven. If you say that there is a person called God who is sitting in a place called heaven, we are actually insulting that man because he is number one, he is a man, not a woman. And then he is something who is having a personality. So he is somebody who is confined to a place called heaven. There is also an enemy, a perpetual enemy called Satan, who is sitting somewhere else and then trying to subvert his followers or confuse his followers. So there is something which is a conflict which is going on, eternal conflict. That is the faith. That is actually the faith. Whereas we say, our Upanishads say, the reality is that supreme, that consciousness which is infinite consciousness, in which there is a power to manifest as the universe. There is a power to manifest as this physical universe. So there is what is called intelligence and also called what we see as matter. So this matter and intelligence, the relationship between matter and intelligence is something which has been discussed in the Upanishads and also in the later philosophical texts. If we see works like Shankaracharya's text or Vidyaranya's Panchadasi and things like that, why is consciousness primary? The discussion is on why is consciousness primary? Is matter coming from consciousness or is consciousness coming from matter? So this discussion, which is also the topmost discussion in modern science, even today, the physics, the modern science is trying to examine the same thing. Is intelligence a product of matter, or intelligence the intelligence has created this whole body-mind complex? So that is this debate. Our people may not be absolutely right. After all, science also is making efforts to know, and maybe science may discover more. But our people debated in a very, very scientific manner. That is what we have to see. Our people did not blindly say, yes, I say you have to jolly well believe. If you don't believe, we will kick. Our people did not say. Then what is the question? Then if that is so, then what about this God and all that? And the Upanishads also gave a solution, Upanishads, the summary of Upanishads is the Gita. We know Gita is the summary of all the Upanishads. And then, in fact, if we study Gita with all these commentaries and all that, we have to listen to a Gita. We have to listen to some Swamiji, from some eminent Swamiji. Only then, Swamijis who know Sanskrit. If you go to a Swamiji who doesn't know Sanskrit, so then again we'll be left with some peripheral things only. So if we really want to know the substance of it, then we have to listen to Gita very thoroughly. So what does it say? In that supreme reality called thing, only one reality, you visualize any form and name. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktah shraddhayarchitum ichchati. Tasya tasya achalam shraddham tameva vidhadamyaham. So that is what he says. In that reality, you visualize any form. Yam, yam, tanu. Yeah, whatever form you visualize. In the same form, I am blessing them. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, what is Krishna? Krishna is not a person who is Vasudeva's son. Krishna is the spokesperson of that supreme reality. Whenever Krishna says aham, mama, etc., he is speaking as the spokesperson of that supreme reality. He is not speaking like somebody who is some Yadava chief, not speaking like that. He is an avatara. And avatara tattvam, that also he says, avatara tattvam also is mentioned in that. So we have got so many deities because they are all forms in one reality. So suppose this idea comes to our youth, then our people they are empowered with knowledge. Or we have to empower our youth with knowledge, correct information. So if we don't give correct information to them, then they will be feeling, oh yeah, the Shivananda Lahiri says Shiva is great. Then what is this? Lalita Sahasram says Lalita is great. Somebody says somebody is great. So what is all this? So then our people will be, they will not be very much impressed by that. So we have to give them correct information about what our texts really say. And for example, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, I was referring to Shakalya Brahmanam. Now I am telling about this Taittiriya Upanishad. Then again, what Gita says. Gita further goes on saying that, ye pyanya devata bhaktaha, in the ninth chapter, ye pyanya devata bhaktaha yajante shraddhayanvitaha, tepi mameva kaunteya yajanti avidhi purvakam. Those who are worshipping any other deity, let them do that. They do not know. They are worshipping, they think that they are worshipping another deity, but they are worshipping me only. That means they are also worshipping the same reality. And from that one reality only, they are also getting the results. So our Krishna, our God, does not say, I am a jealous God. No, no, you convert all the people into my flock. He is not a faction leader. God is not a faction leader. He is not somebody who is trying to convert all the people into his own flock. So it is not like that. God is something, he is so generous. And he says, Na buddhi bhedam janayet, ajnanam karma sanginam, joshayet sarva karmani. If somebody is worshipping in a particular way, suppose somebody is worshipping some idol, whatever. If somebody is worshipping an idol, then you don't go and say, no, 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 idol worship is bad. Because idol worship has got a lot of psychology in that. Idol worship also I'll come and I'll slightly explain. So this all these things say yo nane na buddhi bhedam janayet. Don't go and confuse him. If somebody is doing a puja in his own way, he will get purified in the same manner. Because when he is doing puja, when he is doing some worship, then through that form only he is getting refined, he is getting satisfaction, he is also becoming a good person. Because every religion also say gives some ethical principles also. You be generous to people, be charitable, do good to others, don't snatch other people's property, etc., etc. So he will become good in that level, and slowly he will try to, he maybe someday some question may come, what is the ultimate reality? So when that question dawns in his mind, then he will try to come to reality. So that is what our religion says. So we have to give this information to our people in order to empower them. Idol worship is another thing I was telling. What is that idol? In the beginning, in the Vedic times, there was no idol. In the Vedic times, it was said mantra was the temple, first temple of God. Mantra was the first temple for any deity. Then slowly that mantra, something elaborated, some tantra also came. Some tantra, something yantra also came, and then whatever bijaksharas were there, they put in the form of a yantra. So first yantra, then slowly and slowly slight worship of that yantra. So in that form, some tantra also came. So then somebody thought, okay, when I am saying that Vishnu is infinite, when Vishnu is Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, etc. Okay, let me put some God with four hands signifying Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, etc. Or, for example, Lalita, the symbol, fine symbolism is we can see from Lalita. Lalita, what does she say? She is sitting on Lord Shiva. Then what is this? This one lady sitting on Lord Shiva. Shiva is lying on that bed, and then Paramashiva Paryanka, something Sthira. So that lady is sitting. Then what does it mean? Shiva is representing that supreme consciousness, that nirguna thing called consciousness. Nirguna thing called nirguna. Again, used a technical word. Nirguna is something which has no, which is something which is immutable, unchanging reality. So that unchanging reality, that supreme consciousness is that Shiva. And then in that, there is a manifestation, manifesting power. I said that manifesting power is that Shakti or Lalita. So that is the symbolism there. And say, suppose another line which says, for example, Manorupekshu Kodanda Pancha Tanmatra Sayaka. Again, mind is something which is Ikshukodanda. Mind is something which is fulfilling all our desires, because through the five senses, which are like arrows which are going, and then getting the sense objects. So we are deriving pleasure through our senses. So Manorupa Ikshukodanda Pancha Tanmatra Sayaka, these five Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha, etc. They are the five arrows which are being flung, and then through these arrows we are getting the sense pleasures. So like that, wherever you see, there is symbolism. And if suppose somebody says, "Oh, your gods are goddesses, they are all bloodsuckers." There is another thing. There is another great thing is, "Oh, your goddess, that lady that in what is that? Devi Bhagavatam, not Devi Bhagavatam, the Durga Saptashati. Durga Saptashati, Rakta Bija Vadha. Rakta Bija. Rakta Bija is a great symbol. Rakta Bija is a great symbol. Rakta means raga. Raga means attachment. Rakta means the point of attachment. What we call in Sanskrit, we call them samskaras or vasanas, which are some latent tendencies in a human being. So whenever we perform some actions, those actions will result in some sort of latent impressions in our mind. Suppose I keep on doing all good works. So there will be good samskaras in my mind. I suppose I have done lot many bad deeds in my past. So if that is so, all bad samskaras are also latent in my mind. So suppose there is some impetus or some sort of triggering feature for that latent impression. So that latent impression will again come out. So that third story in that Devi Saptashati is actually about conquering the Sattva Guna. The first story is about conquering Tamo Guna. The second story is about conquering the Rajo Guna. The third story is actually going beyond the Sattva Guna also, because Sattva Guna also can be binding for a human being. It is an obstacle in the form in the spiritual path. So Sattva-guna also has to be overcome. So the one great thing which is an obstacle is that vasanas which are latent in the mind. So that Rakta Bija, so suppose that vasana is kindled or some vasana is triggered, again it will sprout up. So that is the symbol of that Rakta Bija. So Rakta Bija, Bija is the seed of attachment. The meaning of Rakta Bija is the seed of attachment. So the Devi has to spread her tongue in such a way that not a single drop falls. That means all the vasanas are eradicated. So this vasana, eradicating all the vasanas, is a big chapter in Vidyaranya's Jivan Mukti Viveka. If you see that book called Jivan Mukti Viveka, there is a chapter called Vasana Kshayam, or the eradication of vasanas. In the spiritual path, whoever is there on the spiritual path, the Vasana Kshaya is very, very, very important. So Rakta Bija is a symbol. It is not as though all our gods are all gods and goddesses. They have got so many weapons and they are all blood-sucking people and all that. So every symbol, we have to see the symbolism. And if we have to know the symbolism, we should know what is our way, what do our Upanishads say. So the battlefield is our Upanishads. Battlefield is our society from the point of view of the people who want to destroy Hinduism. They misinterpret things like a caste, and then caste is another thing which I have not come. So their purpose is to break the society, and then see that we are engaged in fighting one another. And we have to, if we equip our youth with all this information, then they will be empowered. Caste also, I can briefly mention. Already, I have slightly exceeded in roughly 40 minutes.
कृपया वदतु महोदय, तस्मिन् विषये अपि कृपया वदतु.
That will also tell. What our texts say is, for example, Varna and caste, these two are two different things. Our texts say only Varna. They have never told about any caste. I have written in my books, and also I have written several articles and papers, etc. I have just challenged people. You please tell me, show me one place where it is mentioned. So and so Rishi created caste. No sage, no Rishi, no Manu created any caste. In fact, why for the once and one mantra which did a great damage to our Indian society is from the Purusha Suktam. The most ancient text is that Rigveda. In that Rigveda, there is what is called Purusha Sukta. And most of us, we might have heard that Purusha Sukta whenever we go to the temple. The priests, they start reciting that Purusha Sukta. Sahasra Shirusha Purusha, Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. So like that. And when we go down and down, there is one particular mantra. In more than 10,000 mantras in the Rig Veda, there is only one mantra and two lines mantra which has done a great damage. That is Brahmanosya Mukhamasit Bahu Rajanyah Krutaha Uru Tadasya Dvaisha Padhyam Shudro Jayata. That is the basis for all things. From that only again we'll come to Gita. So Brahmanosya, what is that Sukta itself? That sukta is actually an upasana. Upasana, it is called samashti upasana. Samashti upasana means visualizing the upasana is actually a visualization. That upasana, in that visualization, the whole universe, the whole creation is visualized as one organic entity. That sort of visualization we find repeatedly in various other passages, also in Upanishads, also in different forms, not only in this form, but in different forms. So this visualizing the whole society in a human form, if we do that, not society, the whole universe, the whole creation, then you have to involve Surya, Chandra, you have to involve all these things which are there, all the features are also involved. So visualizing all that, then how many heads that Virat Purusha has? Suppose you are visualizing it as a human, as a person, because there is an anthropomorphic visualization, isn't it? So in that anthropomorphic visualization, all the heads of all the beings, they are the heads of that, say, Virat Purusha. Virat means Vividham Rajate iti Virat. That is one who is shining in so many forms. Vividham Rajate iti Virat. In so many forms he is shining. And what are it? Sahasra Shirsha. The meaning of the word Sahasra is infinite. Infinite. He has got infinite number of heads. Then what does it say? The commentary very clearly says, if we read the commentary of Sayanacharya, the commentary very clearly says that all the antahkaranas of all the beings, they are the heads of all that Virat Purusha. So right from an ant, a mosquito, all these things, they are the heads of Virat Purusha. So if we want to draw the picture of a Virat Purusha, that Vishwarupam, Not only human heads, we have to give mosquito, you have to put we have to put a scorpion, you have to put a snake, and all those things you have to put because the head, because all these beings, they do have intelligence. An ant has intelligence, a snake has intelligence, a scorpion has intelligence. All these beings have living beings have intelligence. So all these things have to be put in that. So all the antahkaranas of all the beings, they are the heads of that. And all the limbs means all the Jnanendriya, Karmendriya, we say. Jnanendriya means the Indriyas, the organs of the sense organs and the organs of action. So the sense organs of all the beings are all the sense organs of that Virat Purusha. The limbs of all these beings, they are the limbs of all that Virat Purusha. So which means every living being is part of that Virat Purusha. It is not, no, nothing is excluded. And if we want to see what is the head, body, etc., if we want to visualize in a slightly different way, if we come down to society and all that, who is the spokesperson in a society? Brahmanasya mukhamasit. Mukham in Sanskrit means mouth. It doesn't mean face. Now we are using it for face, but originally the mouth, mukha, mouth, they are also cognate words. So this mukha, mouth, Brahmanasya mukhamasit, he is the spokesperson. You can also, okay, you can also take face also you can take. And if you see the grammar, what is the grammar there? Brahmana asya mukham asit. He was the face. The Brahmanasya mukhamasit. Bahu Rajanya Pratah. Bahu, the two shoulders. Rajanya Bahu Pratah. The king was made into the two shoulders. Similarly, Uru Tadasya Dvaisyaha. The Uru, the two shoulders, Vaishya was made the two thighs. And unfortunately, the last line says Padhyam Shudro Jayata. And from the feet, the Shudra, you can say that Padhyam, you can interpret it in Panchami also. By virtue of those 2 feet, by virtue of the 2 feet, he was the Shudra. So, by virtue of the head, he was a Brahmana. Brahmana became the head, Kshatriya became the shoulders, the Vaishya became the thighs. When all the three sentences are in one particular style, Adhikarana, then only this last line is in a different thing, different Adhikarana. How can it be? So, people have also commented, people have also said, no, that also has to be taken like that. He is like the feet, so something like that. So you can't deny the existence of workers in any society, whether it is an Indian society or a Western society or anywhere, nowhere in the world. You can't dispense with the workers. Everywhere, all over the world, the workers are there, and the workers are very much they are called that given that name. That's all. So that is what we see. And Manusmriti also. One word about Manusmriti. Manusmriti is mentioning certain castes, but Manu has not created the castes. Kindly note it. When he mentioned only 4 varnas, and there are there are some slokas which say that the teacher used to examine the boy. The teacher used to examine the boy and then decide his varna. Uh, Immediately, I'm not getting that sloka. Acharya, he examines that boy, and then he decides that Savitriya, yeah, I could have noted, I ought to have noted down. So it says 2-148, that number I remember, 2-1, second adhyaya, sloka number 148. Acharyastvasya yam jatim vidhivat vedaparagaha. And it starts like that. Acharyastu asya vidhivat acharyastvasya Vedaparaga. So he decides his varna because he sees he examines the swabhava, nature of that boy, and then he assigns him, okay, you better be a Kshatriya, you better be a warrior, you better study Veda, you better go to work. So something like that. Probably in the very, very initial days, it was like that. But by the time Manu wrote, Manu society, if we see, the society was fairly well developed. In that Manusmriti, there is a Vyavahara Kanda. In that Vyavahara Kanda, if we see the second portion of that Manusmriti, all the features of the present day society, all the points of litigation, all the aspects of litigation which we find in the modern society, they are all found in Manusmriti also, which means the society was already developed. And already there was this inter-varna marriages are going on. Not only now, the intervarna marriages were going on in Manu's time also. And those intervarna marriages, the people who were born in that way, they were put into certain categories. That is exactly what Manu did. He did not create any caste. And all the Ashtadasha Smritis or any Smriti you please take, there is no Smriti which is saying that, okay, God, this some Rishi has created this particular caste. No, there is no such thing. There are only four Varnas. There are 4,000 odd castes. So caste is something which is a sociological evolution. That also we have to see. Because just as we need clothes today, olden days also people needed clothes. So there was a group of people who were making these clothes. So it was necessary. And those people, they preserved their skill and then prepared, they became a caste. Similarly, goldsmith, they preserved a particular skill and then they became goldsmiths. Similarly, all other castes depending on the social needs. So that is how we see. And this caste, a very simplest explanation is this. On caste, there are people who have done great research. There is one person called Sudha Mohan in Canada who has written very beautiful books on Canada, on caste, on this issue of caste. Sudha Mohan. Shivasya Kulam. He has written a book called Shivasya Kulam. If you have not read that, it is there in English and also in Telugu. He is a Telugu man who first wrote it in Telugu and then translated it into English. Both books are really worth essential for knowing what is caste and what is varna. So these are certain things. So we have to give this information to our youth in order to, live with dignity and live without guilt. Because the basic problem is we hear one word called the white guilt in the case of Europe and then in the case of America. Now they are all saying, no, stop with this white guilt, stop this white guilt, because the white guilt made them accept a lot many illegal immigrants, and now they are facing danger to their own culture. Just as we are now bothered about preserving our own culture, the Western society is now bothered about, they are fully engaged in preserving their own culture. UK is in a mess, and other countries like France, Germany, they are also facing great danger, and all these are the local means the conservative people, those who actually they belong to that particular culture, what they call Judeo-Christian civilization. So they are now afraid. Arey, our civilization is being overtaken by somebody who wants to put our women in some burqas and all that. So they are very vocal. They are coming out vocally. So that is the way they are also trying to preserve their culture now. We have been trying to preserve our culture for the last 1,000 years, but now it is an intellectual battle, and we cannot fail in the intellectual battle. Physical battle, we failed because of so many selfish people who helped the enemy. Here also, intellectual field also, there are so many people. But if we are intellectually strong, nobody can defeat us. So intellectually strong means, first of all, we have to know our doctrine. Read Vyakarana, which is necessary to the extent it is necessary. Read Tarka to the extent it is necessary. And read many other Shastras to the extent they are necessary. But particularly know the principle, the message of the Bhagavad Gita. Kindly know, my greatest appeal to all the people here is, both elders, children may not understand, some youth and the elderly people who are present here. My single most appeal is that kindly study the Gita fully with all the to whichever tradition you may belong. You may belong to say Visishtadvaita tradition or Dvaita tradition, whatever. In all these traditions, there are very great features in comparison with other religions. Because somebody who is a Vishishtadvaiti, he will not say, no, 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 Shiva is a demon. He will not say. He will only say Shiva is an assistant, or rather, he is the first bhakta of Vishnu. And if you go to Shaiva, Siddhanta, they also say, okay, Shiva is supreme, but Vishnu is the greatest pal, he is the greatest right hand man of Shiva. Similarly, Shakti does not say all these people, Vishnu, Shiva, etc., they are all demons. They don't say. They are all, again, they are manifestations in that Parashakti. So we find that hierarchy. Hierarchy will be changing, that's all. We don't say, no, he is a demon, the other god is a demon. Whereas the other people say they are demon, they have to be killed. They have no place on earth. So compared to all other civilizations, ours is the noblest civilization to whatever tradition you belong. You may be a Madhva, you may be a Smarta, you may be Vishishtadvaiti, whatever tradition you belong, we belong to a very great tradition. And we have to, once we know that, once our youth knows this, then our culture will remain. And for that, some knowledge of Sanskrit is highly essential. Because if we don't know Sanskrit, we are misguided by all these people. Not many people are knowing Sanskrit, learning Sanskrit from this angle. We have to learn Sanskrit from this angle in a focused manner. So that is what my appeal is. So this I'll stop here. Yeah, any questions I'm prepared to take. I do have time. If you have time.
अनन्त धन्यवादाः महोदय.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your discourse was truly a jnana deepika for us, very, very enlightening. And thank you for beautifully highlighting how Samskritam is so essential in order to face this intellectual battle which we have been facing for centuries, and also for uh, highlighting the importance of the spirit of inquiry in this Bharatiya civilization, which has existed for centuries, and bringing out this distinction very clearly between a faith which is imposed and just a belief system, and a spirit of inquiry which is ingrained in our Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, and how the knowledge of Sanskritam is so essential for us to appreciate that. And like Mahodaya suggested, it is an earnest appeal to all of you to please continue this study of Sanskritam, our texts and Shastras and Bhagavad Gita, like Mahodaya was telling all of us. Please do read his books, listen to his lectures, and also the writings of Rajiv Malhotra ji and others, especially like Mahodaya was telling us, to young parents and the youth, because we need to know, the young parents and the youth need to know, so that they can guide the a younger generation, so that they are not misguided by other interpretations. And Mahodaya also beautifully highlighted how the Pauranika references, like for example, in Durga Saptashati to the Rakta Bijasura, is actually it refers to conquering or rather eradicating the vasanas. And Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, how that is the essence of Sanatana Dharma. And various narratives were also discussed by Mahodaya to enlighten us on these topics. And I'm sure we are all inspired to further study Sanskritam and our Shastras. Now I will see if there are a few questions and pose them to Mahodaya here. Lali ji has asked, please suggest a few means by which youth can be attracted.
Please suggest a few means.
Means by which youth can be attracted into this fold.
Yeah, the only way my visualize is the youth are now having a feeling that our culture is something which is outdated, obsolete, and then it is something which is hierarchical and all that. So these people, they feel rather inferior. Atma Vishwasa and then that self-respect is not there. So if you want to have self-respect, you kindly say, know our thing, our Siddhanta. So it is very essential for self-esteem because the most important thing is self-esteem. So the people, the present day youth, what they lack is self-esteem. So that is the reason why many of our girls are also going away. The first rebellion is by our girls only, not by boys. The boys, they are somehow stuck to they are here. But then the first rebellion is by girls who are going to other religions or going away. So we have to say that yeah, first of all we have to know this. And another thing, another means you asked for means. You should also read about. I forgot one important point. When you are having an enemy, there is a thing called know thy enemy. That is most important. We don't treat anybody as enemy, but unfortunately, they are treating us as enemies. They want to eradicate us. So if they want to eradicate us, we want to say we have to know their books also. So, in fact, for example, I strongly recommend books by an American professor called Bill Warner, Bill, Warner, Bill Warner, on Islam. He has written small books on Islam. Anybody who is having a girl parent and who wants to save his girl parent from becoming a victim of love jihad, you have to kindly read that book. You have to essentially read those books. So, Bill Warner, say the life of Prophet Muhammad, what is the Sharia, and what is the 2 hour course on 2 hour study of Quran. So, he has written small books, about half a dozen books in 3 levels: level 1, level 2, level 3. So, it is somewhat like a course. He has started a center for study of political Islam. He doesn't call Islam a religion, he calls it a political Islam. So similarly, there is another person called Robert Spencer. Robert Spencer has written some books. For example, A politically incorrect guide to Islam, a politically incorrect guide to Islam by Robert Spencer. This is these two about Islam. About Christianity, even their own people have written, "Why I am not a Christian" by a very famous man, Bertrand Russell, or another very famous writer called Richard Dawkins. Richard Dawkins, The God Delusion. Richard Dawkins, The God Delusion. He writes about all the things which are there in Christianity. And that is the reason why we have not much problem with Christians, because many Christians are open-minded. Even the Christian society itself is very open-minded, and they are prepared to receive all new ideas. So many people, because of writings of these people, Thomas Paine, and people like that, they have come out of Christianity, and then they are leaning towards Buddhism. They are coming to Some of them are coming towards Vedanta. For example, a person called Sam Harris, Sam Harris, Sam Harris. So he has written a book called Waking Up or something like that. He has written a book called Waking Up. I read a few years ago. There he was a rationalist earlier. From being a rationalist, he is now leaning towards Buddhism and also Vedanta. So people are coming out, seeing that the Vedanta or the Hindu, no, I don't say Hindu, Sanatana Dharma has certain universal features. There is a universal appeal. So the means is to know these books also. First of all, know thy enemy. This is a very, very important thing if we want to preserve ourselves. So if somebody comes and tries to influence us, we should also know what the other fellow is actually is about. So we need not debate with them. You need not fight them. You need not get into fight, because in physical fights we may not be able to fight. But if our mind is strong, then we will not bother about that fellow. So dharma can be preserved by knowing our Purva Paksha, or all other opponents. We have to see what do they say, what is their doctrine. Their doctrine is, yeah, God is just saying, okay, you convert all the people into my followers. Is it what we say? But what does our religion says? You purify yourself. The most important point is our highest goal is to purify oneself and become that God. Our job is not to obey that God and kick other people. Our job is to purify ourselves and become that God, like rise to that level. So that is what is moksha. Moksha is rising up to God on that particular level, whether it is Vishishtadvaita or Advaita or Dvaita. In all these three schools, there is what is this purification, self purification to the level of God. And in the case of Advaita, that individual soul also is not there, disappears. The only difference is Vishishtadvaita and Dvaita, the individual souls also remain. The only difference. So in all these traditions, it is much higher goals are there. Moksha, the concept of moksha is something which is highest. You are not simply obeying God to kick others. So these are the things which our people have to know. The means is know the enemy is an important point which you reminded. Next question, please.
Dhanyavadaha, Mahodaya. Next question is, please suggest any specific reference book for understanding Gita properly.
Don't read any book. Listen to people from some well-known traditions. For example, to all modern people, I recommend, say, Ramakrishna Mission teachers like Sarva Priyananda. If you have the books, by all means, you please have the book. But then, if you take Shankaracharya's commentary, you will not make head or tail of it. Any commentary for that matter, Shankaracharya commentary or any other commentary, you will not make head or tail of it. You may have some superficial understanding, but you have to listen to a teacher. Sarva Priyananda is one Swamiji of Ramakrishna order, and Ramakrishna order and Chinmaya order and all these people, they have accepted the non-dual tradition. So in that non-dual tradition, Swami Shivananda, then Swami Dayananda Saraswati, recent Dayananda Saraswati, not Arya Samaj Dayananda Saraswati. So similarly, Sarva Priyananda is one man who is very, very popular. So Sarva Priyananda, many people might be knowing. Hmm. So kindly listen to his talks on the Gita. And he has talked about various other things also. Upanishads also he has talked. For example, the definition of God. Sarva Priyananda, if you just go to YouTube and type Sarva Priyananda, the definition of God, there are a couple of lectures from Taittiriya Upanishad. That is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. He has explained to IIT Kanpur students. So like that, So it is so such teachers we have to listen, and from then go to some old time teacher, and then let the old time teacher teach you in the traditional way, Shankara Bhashyam, etc. That is what we have to do. I am right now doing it in Telugu. About 10, 12 years ago, I did it. I read the the Sanskrit commentary, Shankaracharya's commentary. I explained in English. But right now, because I had not taught so far in Telugu, right now I am teaching in Telugu. So whoever wants to see that, they can see my classes in Telugu, some along with Shankara Bhashyam.
Dhanyavadah, Mahodaya. I think recently I've also started a Gita in English for the youth. It's on
Yeah, Gita for
available
the
on
youth.
YouTube.
With
So
this,
maybe you could just
whatever I am now
highlight
saying,
them.
I want to bring all those things. Yeah.
So Mahodaya's lectures are available on YouTube. I'll also send the link in the WhatsApp group to all of you. So Gita
To the
specifically
latest,
for
yeah, to the
youngsters.
latest class, yeah, the latest thing also, that thing also you can send so that some people might follow.
Yes.
The Gita, Bhagavad Gita for the young.
Yes, Mahodaya. So I think that would be a very great start for all of us. And you have also authored a book on how to teach Hinduism to children or something like that for
Yes,
young parents, right?
yes,
So
yes,
I
yes,
think
yeah,
that would give a very basic understanding for especially for parents on how to answer the questions and guide the youth, youngsters, children also.
yes.
Next one, Mahodaya, is could you please quote the reference you mentioned for Vasana Kshayam in Upanishad?
Yeah, Vasanakshayam, that is Vidyaranya's book called, it is not Upanishad, Vasanakshayam, that book is in, what is this? Jivan Mukti Viveka. There is a book called Jivan Mukti Viveka. If you go to Ramakrishna Mission bookstall, probably you will see the translation, English translation, or in our own whatever language we want, the translation will have. There are two chapters called Mano Nasha and Vasanakshayam. That is destruction of the mind. It doesn't mean we become idiots or something like that. Manonasha is whatever impurities are there in the mind, that impurities have to be cleansed. That mind has to be cleansed of all those impurities. Then Vasanakshaya, though we superficially do all that cleansing, all these vasanas still remain somewhere in the subconscious. So just waiting to be triggered by some sort of triggering factor, some external influence. So suppose the simplest example is, suppose I have been a bad fellow earlier. So some my old friend comes and then says, "Yeah, come along, hey, come along, bye, come, let's go to the pub, let us drink, dance, etc." And I immediately my vasana gets provoked. So that is Rakta Bija. So suppose my old friend comes and says, "Hey, yeah, come by, come on by," and I immediately get up. So that is Rakta Bija is waking up in me. So such things also have to be eradicated. So Vasanakshaya is a very, very interesting chapter in that book called Jivan Mukti Viveka.
Dhanyavadaha, Mahodaya. Next question is how to quickly learn Sanskrit without getting into grammar part of it,
Yeah, grammar,
without getting into Vyakaranam.
some essential grammar we have to have. Otherwise, it will be difficult to understand the text also. What the Vyoma people are doing is excellent, outstanding job. Similarly, Samskrita Bharati has produced some excellent books. For example, Samskrita Bharati, in the 3, 4 levels, they have produced books. For example, Pravesha, Parichaya, Shiksha, etc. They do have some books. Pravesha, Parichaya, then next is some Shiksha or something. So if you read those 3, 4 books, that Sanskrit is good enough. You need not go to, unless you are very young, that is 10-year-old, and then you want to pursue what is this Panini Vyakarana and all that, you are at liberty. But the battlefield is not that. Battlefield is our dharma. Battlefield is Vedanta. Battlefield is Upanishad. Their weapons are the Western criticism. Whatever they want to distort our books. Our weapons are Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma is one Brahmastram. Our Upanishads are our Brahmastram. So our Siddhantam, our doctrine is our Brahmastram. That one Brahmastram is good enough to dispel all those criticisms. So that is the point. So, yeah, that's what I can say.
One more question, Mahodaya. In the modern times, how should the elders conduct themselves so that the young generation is directed to appreciate and follow Sanatana Dharma?
It is a wonderful question because unless the parents also follow some dharma, follow some basic rituals, and here again we have to have some caution. We should not do too much of achara. We can follow some achara to the extent which is possible because our people also, we have got 40 dharma shastras. 40 dharma shastras. Why are there 40 manusmritis? Manusmriti is one dharma shastra. After Manu, then there is Parasara Smriti, Yajnavalkya Smriti, so on and so some, some Vasishta Smriti. 40 smritis are there. So why have all that come? Because the dharma, truth remaining the same, the doctrine remaining the same, the local social conditions have been changing. So that is why there are so many things. So we need not become more and more fundamentalist. So suppose the parent is very, very fundamentalist, he wants his son to keep shikha. So he will rebel and then he will go away. So in my modern times, you can't force a boy to keep a shikha and then all that. When all of the people are learning English, all of the people are pursuing all modern things. All modern things have to be pursued. Along with that, you can tell them some basic thing like Sandhyavandanam. Beyond that Sandhyavandanam, a young boy, we need not teach him. And yeah, reading of Mahabharata, reading of Ramayana. Reading of Mahabharata and Ramayana, particularly the books of Kamala Subramaniam, or these books, for example. Yeah, this is one, this is by Amar Chitrakatha. Amar Chitrakatha, this is same Valmiki Ramayana and also Mahabharata. If our people, the children read, even this edition is good enough for knowing what is Ramayana and what is Mahabharata. This edition is good enough at a young age, maybe 7, 8 years. But once they come to 12, 13, 14, then they have to read the bigger books called, there is one lady, Kamala Subramaniam. Kamala Subramaniam's 3 books, 2 books at least. Bhagavatam, they need not, because Bhagavatam is for elderly people. So this is Bharatam and Ramayanam. These 2 books are essential for children who are for students or boys and girls who are aged about 12 years. And the parents have to also keep the other books, like I said, books of Bill Warner, etc. We should not force them to read. We just keep them on the table. The parents should keep on consulting them now and then. And the parents have to follow some little bit of achara. Every parent also has to follow some achara, perform our rituals, show that these people also sit in puja room for at least some 15 minutes. And then the children also will sit. So that's the only by seeing their parents, they will follow. So that is what both father and mother, they have to follow some achara, but not atyachara, but not too much of achara. Too much of achara, if they do, then people will rebel and go away. And there is no need to learn all the 700 slokas of Gita by heart. Some slokas which are very essential for our arguments, if they are learnt, it is good enough. They can read, but they need not spend about 1 year or 2 years to learn all the slokas by heart. They need not spend that time. In that time, they can pursue some other thing. They can do some robotics. They can do some other thing which are very, very current now. Yes, please.
Yes, so there is one request, Mahodaya, that is, please can you post the link for the Telugu commentary of Bhagavad Gita that Guruji is taking classes in our group. I will
Sure,
request
sure.
you and I will forward it to
Sure,
them.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you.
Yes. And is there any book explaining word by word split and meaning in Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah, there are many. There are many, and I recommend the Gita Press books. I recommend the Gita Press editions. In fact, Gita Press commentary also is good. Gita Press, they have given word to word, word by word meaning, and they have also in English and in all Indian languages they have given. There is one gentleman, Goenka's translation or explanation of Gita's verses, good enough, very good. So that book I strongly recommend. Gita Press, Gorakhpur.
So another request is in Sanskrit, if there is any such book giving a commentary word to word meaning in Samskritam.
In Sanskrit, there are no, books at a fundamental level. In basic Sanskrit, I have not seen. But of course, Sanskrit commentaries by Ramanuja, Madhva, etc., they are very serious. They are very serious books. But then, for not a beginner, they have to go to a teacher and learn. But like what you are asking for a beginner, Sanskrit text, maybe Chinmaya Mission or Ramakrishna Mission, they may be having some books I have not seen.
So maybe just one last question, Mahodaya. We have exceeded our time. Thank you so much for bearing with our questions. What is a way to keep teenagers rooted to our culture and take pride in it in a world where many are unaware of the consequences of being ignorant about our culture and the advantage other religions are taking over that ignorance?
Yeah, other religions, we have to explain what other religions are. The basic point is all other religions, they are based on faith, blind faith, nothing else. That is their that is their basic strength and also basic weakness. Because of that blind faith, they are going ahead, conquering all people and trying to spread. But that is their main weakness also. But our thing, our greatest strength is our totally egalitarian, inclusive, universal philosophy. So that thing we have to tell. For example, many people in America and other places, they are also doing Upanayanam to young kids. And if we tell the meaning of Bhagavad Gita, sorry, Gayatri Mantra, that is good enough. Gayatri Mantra is just talking about the same one reality which is there in our own, which is enlightening all the beings, antahkaranas of all the beings. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yona Prachodayat. I have written a book on Sandhyavandanam also, explaining, I mean, what is this Sandhyavandanam, what is this, meaning of Gayatri Mantra and all that. And I am proud to say that my two grandsons, they are every day they are doing Sandhyavandanam. Not for 15-20 minutes. I have an abridged form, just some pranayama and knowing the meaning of that Sandhyavandana, I mean Gayatri Mantra. Not that full Gayatri, that Sandhyavandana for 15-20 minutes, because they don't have that much time. They have got only 5 minutes. People may criticize that I have done something which I should not have done, but okay, they are at least doing it very sincerely. And as I said, reading Mahabharata and Ramayana at the age of 10, 12, 13, 14, etc., that will give them pride. That will give them pride. Oh, we have got such great books. So if they read Mahabharata, particularly that Kamala Subramaniam's book, then they will see how great the characters are. If you see Ramayana, written by that lady, Rama, how great the character was. We emulate great people. We know about great characters by reading those two books. So those two books are essential. There is no other way. Let them read all other books. But these two books should be there in every house. That's what I feel.
धन्यवादाः महोदय. वयं सर्वे उन्मीलिताः, उद्भसिताः, पवित्रीकृताः, प्रक्षालिताः च पुनः पुनः कार्तज्ञं व्याहरामि. If there are any more questions, Mahodaya's lectures and books are also available, so you can please go through them. And some of them have requested for sharing this lecture on YouTube or WhatsApp. It is already there on YouTube Live. I will share the link with all of you. And thank you so much for an overwhelming response. We had around 190 join in the live webinar and many more on YouTube Live, so around 200 plus. And I'm sure there'll be others who will also listen to this, view this on YouTube. It has been a very enlightening lecture for us. Dhanyavadaha Mahodaya. I think Venkat Mahodaya has joined us. Venkat Mahodaya, would you want to say a few words?
Namaste, namaste. Mukhaṁ karoti vācālam pangum langhayate girim yatkripatamaham vande paramananda madhavam. I was listening to Mahodaya's talk, and this kind of talk has to be given in all our courses, because all our parents, all our youth need these kind of inspirational talk. The most important difference that we see from our generation, say I am about 40 to reaching 50, and the next generation is, in our generation, we used to listen to we also used to question our parents, but we used to listen to them and then question our parents. Or if they say that do some achara, we used to do the achara, then ask why should we do the achara. So that kind of thing was there. Again, it was all inspired by our parents who listened to their parents. So like that, this one. We were also asking questions and asking for answers. But the current generation, as Mahodaya said, has to be given the reasons for doing why they do what they do. That is the next set of knowledge bites, we can say, because you can't say if you give them 2-hour lecture, nobody is listening. We have to give them knowledge bites in the form of micro learning, that we say. And we must definitely empower them with our Sanatana Dharma concepts, such that when they are confronted in their educational institution or in their offices, the youth, when they are confronted with the Sanatana Dharma related questions, they are able to answer confidently. So in this direction, I think what Vyoma is doing is, first thing is, it is teaching Sanskritam to everybody. That is, we request everybody to learn Sanskritam at different levels. So for all the Anopacharika Sabhas, Anopacharika Samskrita Shikshanam routes, we have our online classes. Samskrita Bharati, Chittur Parikshaha, Samskrita Education Society, Sringeri Sabha. For all the Sabhas, we are Bharati Vidya Bhavan, we have all the videos and lectures, etc. The path is there. So depending on the time availability, proficiency, we call it as a POPT model, proficiency, objective, and current, and your time availability and your persona, at what stage of life you are and what you want to do in life, and how Sanskritam is going to help you definitely, and how much of time you are able to devote for that. If this is answered, there is a learning path for everybody in Vyoma, and we can learn Sanskritam based on the goals that we have. Somebody may have a Vedanta goal, somebody may have a Samskrita Sambhashanam goal. So you can learn Sanskritam, and that is what we have been doing for past 13 to 15 years. We are trying to help the next step is, first you learn Sanskritam, then we learn why we do what we do. Then we ask questions, we clarify to ourselves. And as Mahodaya clearly said, what is the best way to teach your children or teach your next generation or make them follow is, first we should follow. First we should follow, and Pratham, see, Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara. They didn't say Dharmam Vada. So Dharmam Chara, we should all follow the Dharma, and that is what Mahodaya was telling. And I think we thank Mahodaya for his enlightening talk. He has, Mahodaya, I have been hearing him, and I have been inspired by his life, by his talks, etc. He is teaching even the UPSC aspirants. Samskritam is being coached by Karanam Aravinda Rao sir. So if somebody is writing UPSC exam and he's taken Samskritam in one of his options, there is only one teacher in India. That is Sri Karanam Aravinda Rao, Dr. Karanam Aravinda Rao, who is guiding them as to how to write this paper. He has requested Vyoma also to start some courses. We are unable to find the requisite resources, teachers, etc. We will definitely start, and we are requesting Dr. Karanam Aravinda Rao to use Vyoma platform for all his teachings. We will separately talk, sir, and you can, whichever, so that more people can be reached. The Vyoma is a platform where today most of the people are coming. So because of the blessings of elders like you, so I think wherever possible, the platform of Vyoma also can be used. With these words, I sincerely thank you, sir, for making time for our course. And Brinda Bagini is one amazing, popular teacher. At this juncture, I have to thank her also. This Shivananda Lahari course, she has taken it as her personal passion. All the courses that she delivers in Vyoma, she personally does siddhi of it. Like for example, Soundarlahari, when she did 48 days, she practiced Soundarlahari, or 60 days, she practiced Soundarlahari every day. She practiced and did the siddhi, and then only she said, I am ready now. That kind of siddhi is something which Brindaji brings for all her courses, be it Bhagavad Gita, be it Shivanandalari, be it Shankara Stotras. And this time, the most important thing is she has delivered this course with the meaning, along with the chanting. Her chanting and melodious voice, though everybody are definitely mesmerized, and they feel the divinity in the voice. I have seen when I had been to the US, I think Karanam sir, I met you there in the US in Dallas someday. So in that trip, when I went to one house, just like they were playing MS Subbalakshmi's, we were all playing Suprabhatam. They were actually playing Brinda's Suprabhatam and Brinda's Soundarlahari in that house. They were telling every day morning we will play this. That is what they were telling. This is not an exaggeration. This is her commitment, her tapas, which she has done, and she is offering it to great people like you. And she wanted you only to come and bless. That is what which I wanted to tell also. So we thank Brinda Bhagini and Aditi Swaminathan also, who was there throughout the course as a panelist and a co-faculty, and all the faculty help that she did. I would like to thank her also, and other Vyoma team members. I thank everybody. Dhanyavadaha, namaskaraha, Ram Ram.
Thank you. One word about Brinda. She is like my daughter. I am proud of her because she is my old high school mate's daughter. Her father and I, we studied in the same high school. Her father was a junior to me. So he is a daughter. So she is like my daughter. I am very, very proud that she is doing such great contribution to our dharma. Thank you. Okay, Ma. All the best to you.
Thank you so much, Mahodaya. Like Mahodaya said, he's a fatherly figure for us. We hail from the same town in Andhra. And I'll just take a couple of minutes. I know all of us have, we have exceeded the time. I'm extremely grateful to Vyoma Labs, Venkat Mahodaya, Vishwanathan Mahodaya, for their constant support, guidance, motivation. And most importantly, for creating this global ecosystem, a modern platform where we can connect with learners from whichever part of the world they are in. And also personally, this course has been very special for me because I was taught Shivananda Lahari by my guru, Anantalakshmi Natarajan, Anantam Mata. And this course specifically was offered by her because of her Agnya. So she gave this Agnya that Shivananda Lahari has to be taught. And before this journey began, she graciously sat with me and we recited every single verse twice over a span of 2 days. And she fine-tuned my understanding and shared the deeper essences of this kavyam. And this is a samarpanam to her, to all my gurus. And whatever little I could share with you all, it's purely the grace of our Jagat Gurus and Parameshwara. And I would also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our wonderful team of linguistic experts, especially Dr. Soumya Krishnapur Bhagini and Dr. Maheshwari Bhagini, who have vetted every word, every meaning which was shared in this course. And of course, like Venkat Mahodaya said, Aditi Swaminathan, who has been the co-faculty. And special thanks to our ELA Nagashri Bhagini for her tireless efforts in managing the webinars and the essential logistics. And I'm also deeply grateful to Lata Rammohanji from California. And the seamless availability of our recordings on the course page and YouTube is all due to her relentless efforts and timely uploads and editing every week. Dhanyavadaha Bhagini. And we had a wonderful team of panelists for Anucharanam, right? Since the inception of the course till the conclusion, they have remained with us. Aditi, Charu, and Shriya. And I'm very grateful to them and truly appreciate them for their dedication to this course. And to each of you for participating, you have been a true source of inspiration. And thank you so much for your dedication, enthusiasm, and for all the diverse perspectives you have been sharing on the verses in the group. So I'm hoping that this is just the first step, and we will continue our journey of learning and this Jnana Yajna, like Mahodaya inspired us to do by studying Samskritam and our Shastras. So this has truly been a great enlightening experience for all of us. Ananta Dhanyavadaha. We will conclude with Shanti Mantraha, post which, in case there is time, then Nagashi Bhagini will guide us if there is time for course feedback. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः धन्यवादाः सर्वेभ्यः
Thank you.
धन्यवादाः महोदय. Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
presence, blessings. We continue to seek your guidance through all our future courses and initiatives. धन्यवादाः.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
राम राम राम.